My name's Andy Burney. I'm the ACH Seeds Great Lakes Region Manager. Great to be here for another annual Seed Week. Always this time of year, we're getting quite excited as we wrap up one season and kind of hit the reset button and start looking forward to a new crop year. So very excited to be here today. Of course, better in person, and we're glad that we're doing some in-person meetings, but for those of you who can't join us, we hope that you'll get some good information out of this virtual format. Okay, I think we'll jump right into it. Again, it's a great honor and privilege to be here and be part of the Reach Seed Week. Great to be able to see so many growers and to get all the information here in one spot. So with that, I'm going to jump right into my presentation. We're super excited about our variety lineup for 2022. As I look at the overall portfolio of varieties we have, I think we've got a very nice offering, very well-rounded and balanced portfolio. Got a couple of good standby varieties in 675 and 752 NT that have been around for a while, and very popular varieties, really have established themselves as market leaders. You guys have come to know these varieties, and performance continues to be very good. G919 and G932 NT are a couple of new varieties which complement 675 and 752 quite nicely. Being new varieties, they each bring some new traits to the table, some different attributes. Again, nice to have some options. And then moving on to the CR Plus varieties, probably the most exciting thing. We launched CR Plus in a couple varieties this past year, 021 and 943 in particular. 943 will not be available this year. The seed committee did not approve it. It was approved as a specialty last year. But we do have a new one, 049 CR Plus, and that brings some really good performance as well. I kind of want to start off and talk a little bit about our focus on productivity, kind of a focus that we have certainly as a breeding company, as a seed company. This slide here is the approved varieties for 2022. It's the format that Michigan Sugar has provided. You got the average, 2-year average, and you kind of can see all the pertinent attributes of a variety there: dollars per acre, sugar per ton. And as you move across the chart there, you can see the different disease traits. Very handy document. It's very useful to be able to look at that just in a quick reference and see how all the varieties stack up. In this particular slide, I've got it sorted what we call conditional formatting. So kind of like a color formatting, kind of like a stoplight. Green shades are better, yellow shades are kind of moderate, and red shades are poor. This just kind of gives you a visual snapshot where we're at as companies. I've got it sorted by seed supplier. And you can see that we've got a lot of green for the Crystal brand there. We're doing really good on sugar per acre, dollars per acre, good tons. And overall, our disease package is doing well. We're improving. Got some areas to work on. We'd like to see our sugar per ton come up, and I think we're going to have a focus on that here in the coming years. You're going to see that improve. And then certainly on the nematode side, we'd like to see some much better Sugarbeet tolerance. And again, we're pretty excited about some things that are coming in the not too distant future. But you can kind of see what we're doing. We want to continue to maintain our high levels of performance, and then help enable a variety to reach that potential by surrounding it with a good trait package from the root rots, Rhizoctonia, Phantomyces, Fusarium, also root aphid, Rhizomania. We want to have as strong a package as we can. CR Plus is the big buzz this year. I mean, our phones have been just really ringing off the hooks now for a couple weeks as harvest finished, and guys that had it were very impressed, and so demand has really exceeded our expectations. I want to talk a little bit about where we're at in terms of breeding line. The first varieties, specifically 943, that we brought to the marketplace, we probably did that quicker than you would have normally done because we felt it was necessary. When we were making those decisions about the advanced varieties forward, we were kind of in the midst of the Sugarbeet epidemic of 2016, 17, and 18. We felt like we had to move the varieties forward as quick as possible because there was a huge need for them. Typically, we would have made some additional crosses to bring that sugar content up, but we felt like we needed to move it forward as quick as possible. So each successive generation, you're going to see better and better quality and better trait package, better performance. We're already seeing that with 021. That one's making it on sugar per ton. We got a couple first-year entries looking good, so we're expecting super good things in the future. The next big jump really is to incorporate CR Plus into the nematode package. We think we will have some first-year entries going into the OVTs this next year. The breeders are getting the message from us that we really need that in the marketplace. And so hopefully within a couple years, we'll be able to provide that trait package as well. The pipeline is full for CR Plus. We're full steam ahead. We're very excited about this technology, not only here in Michigan and Ontario, but across the country. We think it's really going to be a game changer, and we're moving ahead as fast as we can with our pipeline. A lot of benefits provided by the CR Plus trait. The first I would say is confidence. The ability from the enhanced tolerance to just know that you can confidently control Cercospora is huge. We struggled with that again this year, a late season push with Cercospora coming on in September and October with the warm weather, warm and wet conditions. And this enhanced level of tolerance just gives you the confidence to know that you can manage that devastating disease and get good control. Convenience is another big factor, of course, so we got fewer trips across the field. We think, based on Michigan Sugar's recommendations, it's about a 3-spray program for Cercospora Plus varieties. So that's going to save you some trips, gives you more time for other activities on the farm as well as time at home with the family. Flexibility is another important attribute of the CR Plus trait, and I'm talking specifically in terms of pre-harvest intervals. It's quite difficult sometimes to know, especially during early dig, when do you spray and when are you actually going to get started, and how the lottery system is going depends on tonnage and how the factories are running and all that kind of stuff. So the CR Plus gives you flexibility to be able to adjust that and know that you can safely manage that pre-harvest interval. Stability, seems like we're getting more and more wide swings in the weather as we move forward. This year, this warm, wet weather that we had this fall, it just seems like one year after another we keep getting wide springs. You think about just in the last 5 years, all the things that have happened, 2016, 17, 18, 2019 was one for the books. And again, this year, it just seems to be more the norm than ever. And having this enhanced trait or enhanced tolerance really provides, again, that protection for the varieties and allows them to hit their yield potential. So it provides more stability. Enhanced suppression, really what I'm getting at here is it takes pressure off of our fungicides. We've had resistant strains of leaf spot develop, and so we've not been able to control them with fungicides. So this enhanced level of tolerance is going to take a little pressure off of our chemistry and hopefully help preserve our fungicide efficacy. And then, of course, the big deal is fewer fungicide applications. Couple benefits of that, obviously. It means fewer trips across the field. You're going to really kind of shift disease control from fungicides or from chemistry over to genetics. So a little bit of a change in terms of where your expenses on that regard. Sustainability is a big thing. Less trips across the field means we're more fuel efficient, less emissions. So sustainability is a big thing. And then also, of course, there is potential cost savings because you have fewer fungicide applications to make. Okay, I want to shift back to this 2-year summary for Michigan Sugar of the approved varieties. Again, it's a very handy document to be able to look and compare all the varieties. In this slide, I've just taken the opportunity to highlight the crystal varieties. Not going to go into a lot of detail at this point, but it just gives you a feel for where we're at. You see 675, 049, 021, 932 NT, all in that very top group of varieties in terms of dollars per acre, sugar per acre. performing exceptionally well. C752 a little bit further down the list there this year. In the OBTs, seems like it was off a little bit on sugar per ton. I think we had better experience with it in our strip trials and Sugarbeet advancement, and also grower fields, where it performed, I think, more like we expect. But varieties perform differently in different years and different conditions. And then finally, 919, a little further down the line there. Interesting little variety. It's very well balanced with its disease package. Has great level of Sugarbeet tolerance, as well as a very nice root rot package. We give up a little bit yield potential, but I think it has a good fit as a nice workhorse variety. I wanted to touch a little bit on the root rot ratings that you see on that 2-year summary. A lot of times when we look at that, we're going to kind of figure that as an absolute kind of figure or rating that's on there. In our experience is that the root rot nurseries can be inherently difficult to run. And you think about it, soil biology is complex. There's interaction between different pathogens. They're just, like I say, inherently difficult and can be kind of variable from one year to the next. Quite often the difference from top to bottom in the varieties can be sometimes relatively small. And then when you convert that into percent of the checks and put it in a percentage form, it can kind of get exaggerated. So sometimes what looks like a big difference may or may not be a big difference. It's a little bit hard to decipher. Quite often we've seen varieties kind of move around in terms of the rating from one year to the next. We've seen that in past years with 59, when we had that around for so long. I can recall the AF score was always good, and then all of a sudden it would kind of fall off for a year and then back up to normal again. And in the grower fields, we knew it had good Phantomyces. So again, it speaks to kind of some of the challenges that you see in terms of running these disease nurseries. That chart over there on the right, that kind of shows some of the ratings from 2020 to 2021. You can see where there are sometimes some changes and some difference in terms of the rating from one year to the next. Just like we were talking about, 59 still continues. And I think another thing that's a little bit tricky is that in a grower field, I think typically what we experience is a complex of these three diseases: Rhizoctonia, Phantomyces, and Fusarium. It's rarely just one or the other. And so again, it gets a little bit dicey trying to figure out what all those interactions are. One thing I really do like, a piece of information that I think is pretty representative of what we see in grower fields, are the dead beet counts from the Sugarbeet advancement trials. So they're not necessarily AF or Rhizoc or Fusarium, they're just dead beets, and that's the bottom line. So we don't always see that, especially on the brand new varieties, until we've had a chance to get them in Sugarbeet advancement. But I think it's an excellent piece of information, kind of way to ground truth these varieties. So I kind of like to rely on that number. Okay, we're going to move on and talk about the varieties. I've been using these, I call them variety wheels, for a few years here now. And really the idea behind the variety wheels is just a quick visual representation of variety performance and the trait package that it brings. Again, we're back to that kind of color code system, like a stoplight, where the green shades are best, yellow shades are moderate, and red shades are lower or poor. In the center, you've got yield potential. So if a variety has good yield potential, it's going to have a green shade. And then around the perimeter, you've got all the defensive traits, the defensive ring: Cercospora, Rhizoctonia, Fusarium, Phantomyces, root aphid, Rhizomania, kind of all represented there. And again, the color code gives you an idea where we're at. So this is 675. It continues to be a very strong performer in terms of sugar per acre and sugar per ton. High level of performance there. Overall, decent trait package. You guys have gotten to be quite familiar with this variety. You know what to expect. Pretty decent on Rhizoctonia. Phantomyces, we're going to kind of call that moderate. I think that's probably pretty accurate. And then Fusarium has been the one trait where we felt like it was a little weaker. I think when we first started, we were calling that poor. I think over time we've gotten a little more comfortable with it, and now we're kind of calling it moderate. So overall, continues to be quite a good variety. 752 NT. This is our nematode variety, been kind of another staple in the market, been around for several years now, kind of a go-to variety, especially for the guys that need nematode tolerance. Again, a strong performer, kind of continues to hang in there on sugar per acre. Overall, pretty decent package. Rhizoctonia is the one area that we would probably rate, I guess, as you would say, moderate. Sometimes it's got a good rating in the disease nurseries, but we know from experience in the field, probably a moderate is a better way to classify it in terms of that trait. I do think the strong Aphanomyces and Fusarium do kind of help it hang in there. And so for most situations, it is adequate root rot tolerance. Cercospora, again, is the challenge with the nematode varieties. So as nematode varieties go, I think this one is pretty decent for Cercospora tolerance, but certainly hotter than some of our non-nematode varieties. So we're going to kind of call that a moderate level of tolerance. 919 is a new variety for us, so it just, we had some of it out there last year and now it's attained full approval. This is a non-nematode variety. Like I had said earlier, kind of a workhorse. It's got a very strong level of Cercospora tolerance, much improved over 675. Not quite to the level of a CR Plus, obviously, but still very, very good. And the overall supporting traits are very strong when you look at Rhizoctonia, Fusarium, and Aphanomyces. Yield potential, we're giving up a little bit to get there, but again, I think it has a nice fit as a workhorse variety. Situations where you're expecting a little more disease pressure, either maybe following soybeans or in a field that's not tiled quite as well, we think that this variety might have a good fit. It's by far the best looking variety that we have from an appearance standpoint. As we watched it in our trials, it always had the best plant health. It's green, nice dark green, lush color, stands up real well, very attractive variety. Here's 932 NT. It's a new nematode variety. We're very pleased to be able to bring a new nematode. Continues to be a big need for nematode in the marketplace. Differential between 752 and 932 is I think we're getting a little better sugar per ton, maybe a little better sugar per acre as well. And also you see a better color score there for the Rhizoctonia. So we're confident that again, it's probably not a bulletproof variety by any means, but certainly pretty decent when you look at the overall root rot package. Red for the Cercospora, again, is a challenge for the nematode varieties, and this one's a little bit hotter, so we kind of got to manage accordingly and make sure we've got a good supporting spray program when you're growing this variety. Moving on to the CR Plus varieties, this is 021. We're super excited about this variety. It is of the current CR Plus varieties that are available for sale, it has the best sugar. In fact, it is on approval track. It made the requirement on sugar per ton. So a lot of talk and buzz out there about how CR Plus varieties are low sugar. That's not the case with 021. It's very good. It's got good tonnage, and overall just a very well balanced, nice portfolio of traits. So the root rots, it's pretty decent on, good in fact. And of course, the main trait there is the very high level of tolerance for Cercospora at 43% of check. So excellent. We're super excited about it. We think this variety is going to be very important in the future of this industry in the next few years. Here's another new CR Plus variety, 049. This one just missed on sugar per ton for the requirement, so it's classified as a specialty approval. It is an improvement in sugar over 943 by quite a little bit. It has a high level of sugar per acre, very top performer. Excellent in terms of Cercospora tolerance, of course. And then I think a very strong overall package of traits, Aphanomyces, Rhizoctonia, Fusarium, all doing exceptionally well. I want to move on and talk a little bit about our strip trial program. We continue to run a pretty extensive program. We typically like to have 2 trial locations in each of the growing districts and sometimes one in Ontario. This year we ended up being able to harvest 5 locations. We lost one with Dave Banks over in the Brown City area. Quick shout out to our cooperators, Terry Densmore over in the Ithaca area. P&L Wackerly up in Pinconning, Benarski Farms over by Carroll area, Richmond Brothers up in Bayport, and Gettner Bisher over in the Ruth area. Really appreciate our cooperators taking time, being patient with us. It's valuable information. It really helps us learn and understand the performance of varieties and how they perform under real world conditions. So very important program for us. As you look at it, this is the average of the 5 locations, and you look at sugar per acre, you can see how the CR Plus varieties did exceptionally well, 021 and 943. That was kind of driven on the tonnage side. It just seemed to have excellent tonnage. 675 hung in there, did its thing. It's really not far off the pace of the CR Plus varieties. A little better sugar, of course, with 675, but if you compare that to 21, 675 had a 17.6 sugar content, and 21 had a 17.3. So 21's kind of hanging in there with it. Like I say, a nice improvement from the 943 in terms of sugar, and overall sugar per acre is excellent. Moving on to the nematode varieties, again, when you look at that number for sugar per acre, all right in the ballpark there, 752, 932, essentially the same. A little better sugar content with 932 as we expected. And again, I think a little bit better disease package in terms of root rots. 919, also kind of hanging in there, respectable. It's still over 11,000 pounds of sugar there. A little less tons, a little less sugar content, but like I say, by far the healthiest variety that we had in these trials. And again, I think it has a fit in certain situations. Moving on to the Sugarbeet advancement data, again, just a quick snapshot. You can see how our varieties did. This is the average of 6 trials. 021 doing quite well, 675 doing its thing, 752, 932. All these varieties performing in the top tier of varieties that were in the trials. So again, kind of proof that the genetic package between the yield potential, and the defensive traits are able with these varieties to get the job done. Okay, I want to talk quickly on seed supply. I mean, it's great to have all these varieties, and then we turn around and get you all hyped up and then wham you with, oh, but we don't have much. And it's a challenge for us as seed companies to be able to keep production where we want. We're dealing with a biological product, and as you can imagine, and as you know, as fellow farmers, it's a difficult thing. 675 is limited. We had some production issues, so we didn't get the quantity that we had requested and hoped for. I mean, we do have some seed, but just not quite what we wanted. We're going to continue to work with you on that. We know it's been a very popular variety, but we do kind of have some other choices. 752 and 932, the 2 nematode varieties, we're in pretty good shape with both of them. A pretty good chunk of volume for both. We do think demand will be pretty strong for the nematode varieties, of course. So it could get a little bit tight, just depending on how that all goes. It's certainly not an unlimited supply, but I would say overall, very good. 919, again, more of a niche variety there, but I think we've got good supplies to meet demand. And then, of course, the 2 CR Plus varieties, 021, we do have a very good supply, actually, but we're limited by the seed committee to just 10% of the acres. So, again, we know that there's huge demand. Our phones have been ringing off the hook, but unfortunately, we're not just going to be able to load you up with as much 21 or CR Plus as you would like. Similar situation for 049 as a specialty variety. And also just a 2-year variety, they limited it to 5% of the acres. We have the seed, but again, we're limited to that 5%. So I think overall our supply is good. If you look at the total amount of units that are available, I think we're in good shape, but it's kind of like a smorgasbord of varieties this year, right? We're not going to be able to just load you up with 1 or 2 varieties. We may have to kind of help pick and choose an assortment of varieties field by field to help you meet your demand and your needs. I'd ask that you be patient with us as our sales agents are out talking with you. It's going to be the first thing we have to work our way through is how much CR Plus can I get? How much 675 can I get? I think we're going to be fair, as we always have been in the past. Whether you're a small grower or a big grower, we're going to try and be equitable and fair as possible, and try and match up varieties and fields to your needs as best we can. Got a great team of guys here that are working for us. We've been doing this direct marketing for well over 10 years now. Peter Maxwell in the West District, Jeff Karst in the Central, Mike Lean over in the East District, and Ryan Konechny over in Ontario. These guys all share a passion for sugar beets, just like you guys. They're fellow sugar beet growers. They all have lots of experience in the sugar beet business, and we're all in, right? This is what we do for a living, and we all want to see the industry succeed and advance. Our success is very much tied to your success. We can't be making money and being a good, profitable company if you guys aren't doing the same. So I think these guys have earned your trust and respect over the years. And again, we're looking forward to doing that again this coming year. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. I think the future is very bright. CR Plus is a game changer. It's going to be a big thing for our industry. Other innovations coming from KWS side in the near future. The new herbicide trait Truvera is not too far down the road. We're here today to thank you for your business in the past. It's been a great relationship. Also want to ask you for your continued business this coming year. We really need it, and I think we can work and partner together as we always have in the past. And with that, I just want to wish you a safe and blessed holiday season. Thank you.